Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. So we continue to move sideways. Not much happened. It, however, pushed a little bit above the E-wave high. But as I explained to you in the previous video, as long as we don't break above 27,700, the triangle can simply extend. Okay, so the $27,700 level is basically, as per Elliott Wave, here the breakout point to the upside. Whereas to the downside, the breakout point is 26,380. So I will take this opportunity now, first of all, to extend the triangle, because in my opinion, it's still a valid triangle. In fact, now the C wave looks a bit more complex, which is what is common. And the D wave would now be unfolding in the triangle perspective. 1 second. And the E wave is not done. Okay, so I'll take, however, those trend lines out because price doesn't seem to respect them anymore. But trend lines in Elliott Wave triangles are not so important. And also I will try to make that a little bit more visible here, the labels here of the triangles. So let's make the lines a bit more visible. And also, yeah. So this is still a valid perspective of an Elliott Wave triangle. To get a bit more context, maybe watch the last video, but I just want to focus on the short-term price action here at the moment. But the idea is, let me take the fibs out as well. The idea is that this could still be a triangle, nothing invalid here, nothing unusual here. It's just sideways action with, just add something. So yeah, it's just sideways action with declining volume. Yeah, in such a triangle, you do have generally declining volume, which you can see here. Yeah. At some point this will break, but it hasn't at this stage. So either way, this is just one of the perspectives. I mean, literally nothing happened. As I said to you, the triangle will only get invalidated above 27,700. But we of course have some other scenarios. We still have the idea that this could be an ending diagonal, but I will take it off now because this is pushed very high. And I think either it's the triangle that breaks to the downside, yeah, or we get that breakout to the upside that we discussed. Where, however, also we need to be on the side of caution, because if we get a breakout to the upside, then we have resistances just around the corner, and there's a decent probability that it will just be a corrective move to the upside. So let me explain to you. First of all, I had already a comment that said, right, because price moved up, Elliott Wave doesn't work. Now that's, of course, see, yeah. I don't want to say I get frustrated by these comments, but it just comes from a lack of understanding of Elliott Wave. And I try to teach so much here that everybody has a benefit of the analysis and tries to understand. But obviously we have here 2-3 scenarios, okay? And just because one of the less likely ones works out, first of all, doesn't mean that Elliott Wave doesn't work. It just means that Elliott Wave identified all these likely scenarios and one of them will work out. But just like in a poker game, the world's best poker players will not always be right 100% of the time. It is just what it is, because there are many aspects that you just don't know, okay? So what we do is identify the key pivot points that can be traded. And that was clearly here 27,700. So it's very clear that we say, okay, below 27,700, the chances are higher that we move down, and above 27,700, the higher wave 4 that we discussed, basically here, and the higher B wave will get 2 main scenarios, with possibly a more bullish scenario as well. But first of all, we will follow these. And they are all likely scenarios, okay? And they have all been identified with the Elliott Wave method. And they are all likely, okay? I don't show you the unlikely ones. I hope that... So as long as one of these works out, the analysis is correct. Because nobody can influence probabilities really, okay? So, and especially if they are close together, which they are, as I explained, because we don't have an impulse at the moment, okay? It is corrective price action. So your edge is more limited, And we have to say, obviously, in corrective structures, the predictive qualities of Elliott Wave, they reduce. But I've said that I don't know how often I said that. And then you just can work more with trend lines if you like to. But in corrective structures, everything is messy. So also with trend lines, you'll have difficulties. And we identified clearly here the pivot point. So you just need to listen to all words. And the idea was that just if we push above the E wave high, the first view is we just extend the triangle. That is what it is. So literally nothing happened. Okay, so just don't panic because Bitcoin moved like $300. It is just still in the range. Just zoom out, nothing happened. Okay, so don't try to predict every micro or nano wave here, because it's simply all that needs to happen is one of the big guys needs to come in and buy a lot and manipulate the market a little, and it gets thrown off. So that's why looking at the micro level, things can switch quickly. Okay, but obviously nothing else happens. That's why we focus so much on the micro level. But yeah, so the idea at this stage is still this could be a triangle, no problem at all. Yeah. But I also wanted to share with you the detailed wave count for the scenario where we could be moving up. Yeah, where we could be moving up. And this is also a possibility, unfortunately. And that is just simply because we are in a corrective structure. So the idea where we move up and have this higher wave 4, however, I will only really focus on it, to keep it simple, if we break above 27.7k. So what would be this scenario? I shared it with you before anyway, but I just want to I want to make it clear to everybody, okay? So this scenario would mean, so in the alternative count, obviously we would say, okay, the wave 4 is likely to sit here, or it could then also be a B wave. That only makes a difference in, how high would it eventually go. And it would be a W. So instead of this being the whole wave 4, it would just be a wave W. The move down in an X wave, and we move up in a Y wave. Yeah. So that's of course possible. Unfortunately, there are multiple possibilities at the moment due to the corrective nature. A lot of people don't understand this, and I said that I don't know how many times, but in a corrective structure, you will have to move waves often, very, very frequently, because a lot of possibilities exist. Like this one exists, yeah. They're all valid wave counts. So just embrace that uncertainty and understand that at the moment, in a correction, the movements will be rapid. As I said, the market hasn't made up its mind yet. So when you get a move into a certain direction, it can be very rapid, yeah, and it may then turn at an instant again. So yeah, and instead of confusing you now with too many scenarios, the view remains at the moment the same. We just need to see a break above 27,700 or below the B wave low, which is 26,360, to get a confirmation of a breakout. Until then, this is simply normal volatility. So there's no reason to panic at the moment. I think you should all be very well aware of the different scenarios and what should happen if certain resistances or support levels break. And until then, we just need more patience. I mean, I'm happy with that price action. At least we see some movement, but it's not enough to give us clarity, really, unfortunately. It's not enough to give. But that push higher, obviously, if you talk about probabilities, it would have shifted probabilities, in my opinion, slightly towards, okay, at least it has increased probabilities for going a little higher and maybe putting that higher wave 4 in, or that higher B wave. Yeah, and that would be in a scenario where we say, okay, this is a wave W, this is a wave X, and this is a wave Y. And then we can make it even more complex and say, okay, how does this wave Y unfold? Could this be another W, X, Y? Yeah, so you can carry on. You can try to predict every little subwave. You can also try to trade every little subwave. I can tell you that if you try to trade every little subwave in a correction, you'll just if you don't adhere to risk management, you'll just blow up your account. But that's all stuff that comes together with Elliott Wave analysis that many people just don't want to listen to, because we are in corrective structures at the moment. We are not in an impulse here on the smaller time frame, which just requires everybody to be more on their toes. Okay, but yeah, again, not much happened. But ideally, we do see some action now as we pushed a little higher. And Bitcoin was literally frozen yesterday. But just bear in mind, we're not outside of the range yet. I think Ethereum is. So again, as I said, it increases probabilities a little bit to maybe get that higher wave 4 or the high B wave, but until we really get a move above the pivot, which is clearly the invalidation point for the triangle, we don't know. And even then, resistance is very close, because next structural resistance will be here around 28,334. Yeah, and then that's the next decision point. So I'll keep you updated. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.